Hello, 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 everybody. Let's see. Hey, everyone, how's it going? I am here with you live. Let's see. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Let's see. This thing is always, I tried to go through the actual live just on Facebook without Zoom, and for some reason, it just is constantly taking me through Zoom. So I don't know. I got to figure it out. And then it doesn't seem to be connecting. I'm going to join the event. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so open through Zoom. Let's see if that does anything. All right, hopefully. Let's see. Okay, looks like we are there. Now I can see the comments. And I'm really excited to have you here today. Today is going to be a good one. We're going to be talking about the 3 toxic beliefs that are killing your business. You may know about them, you may not. So if you are here with me today, comment that you can hear me, that you're here with me. Do hashtag live if you're here with me today. And maybe just give me a thumbs up to make sure that you can hear me. And I'm just going to close all these distractions and just so I can focus on you and what we're going to be talking about today. So, if you are a business owner that feels stuck, frustrated, overwhelmed, like you're spinning your wheels, maybe a little confused as to what to do next to get you to your next step, this is going to be a good one for you. This might be happening. One of these things might be lingering and you might not even be aware of it. So, again, I'm Heather Blaze, and if you don't know who I am, I'm the founder of Boost You and the Fast Track to Money Blueprint. Um, that basically I help business owners, entrepreneurs, basically with service-based businesses, um, shave off time. I collapse time. So typically it takes the average entrepreneur 3 to 5 years to set up their business systems in a way to have a successful business that allows them time and money freedom to do so. What I've done is I've created a system and strategies to be able to set up your business, to have entrepreneurs set up their businesses within about 8 to 12 weeks so that they can start hitting their financial goals in that amount of time instead of struggling, spinning their wheels, getting frustrated, getting overwhelmed with all that information that's out there. I just hold them by the hand, walk them step by step through the process to get their businesses completely set up from A to Z so that it starts working. It starts producing income for them and hitting those financial goals so that they can ultimately have their best life and live their dreams. So, welcome, and let's go through. Let's just dive in. Okay, so these are some toxic beliefs, some limiting beliefs that might be killing your business. Okay, if you fall prey to any of these negative beliefs, they can sabotage your business or even stop you from launching in the first place. I see this all the time. The biggest thing I have to deal with my clients, it's not really getting them to understand and implement the strategies, but getting them past their fears and some trash that might be in their heads that is, some pre-programmed beliefs that they've picked up along the way in their 30, 40, 50 years, sometimes 60 years, in society, right? Because we're just not taught how to be business owners. So we're taught how to be workers, right? So I often say it's about 80% mindset, 20% strategies. I can teach all the fancy marketing tools in the world, but if there are some toxic limiting beliefs creeping up, we have to get rid of those first or nothing's going to work. And so that's a huge part of my program. And so one of the biggest things I have to deal with is getting them past their fears. Okay, that trash in their head that's preventing them from moving forward. Our beliefs are very much like our filters to the world, right? Like we're wearing these sunglasses, the color of which affects how you see everything around you, right? It's like when my clients come to me, it's like they're wearing these yellow sunglasses, yellow tinted sunglasses. And by the end of 8 weeks, they're like so crystal clear. They can see everything, all the colors and see everything super clear at the end, right? Including all the stuff that's been limiting them. And the same goes when you use filters for your social media, right? So You take a real photo and you add a filter on top of it, and this, if you take that filter off, the original image appears, right? So we're just peeling away the layers to get to the truth and the clarity around what needs to happen in order to reach those goals. So these filters are basically our beliefs, right? So over time, they become our truths, right? As we attach them to certain aspects of our lives, right? Our families, our business, our capacity for greatness, really. And this can be a good thing if you're moving through life in from these empowering beliefs, like thinking, I'm a great leader and I can conquer every obstacle that comes my way, and I can move through that fear no problem. But most of us don't operate like that, right? So if you have those empowering beliefs, or I'm an awesome parent or whatever, anything in business is possible. Those are empowering beliefs that can really get you to what you want to achieve. But most people, they might think that one day, and then there's all this wobble, and they're like, I'm not getting it quick enough, and there's all this stuff, or I'm not quite cut out for this, or am I good enough? Or who am I to teach this, or who's going to listen to me? Like, there's all these like little things that might pop up, or I'm not good at this, or I'm not good at that. These are all limiting beliefs that can really stop you. So, but what happens when you move through this, right? When you move through this world with these beliefs that limit you, right? What happens then, right? So that's what we're going to address today. These are the toxic beliefs that keep you stuck and effectively are sabotaging your business. All right. So the three most common that I see, and these are dangerous because they become these self-fulfilling prophecies, and you might not even realize that you're doing it, right? And this is really the key, and why it's so important to go get a mentor and go get a coach, because sometimes you're so in it, right, that you can't see what's happening, you can't see what's stopping you, and to have that person to give you that perspective and pull you out of it, right, hold you accountable and just say, hey, did you notice what you just did right there? Did you notice that? Did you notice that you're doing that? Right? How is that affecting things? Stuff like that, right? You might not even notice what I like unless somebody points it out. And it has to be somebody that can see it, right? And notice what's going on, and then also be able to communicate that in a way that moves you through it and gives you exercises to move you through it and get rid of it and shift it for good. So it's like riding a bike, right? Once you have that aha moment, it's kind of hard to go back. You can't go back, right? Because it's like you see things from a whole different perspective. So anyway, the three that I see most, that are most common, that I see most often, um, are what we're going to go over today. And once you accept these, right? Once you accept these beliefs, right? Your brain tends to see things that confirm that belief. They're always like looking for evidence, like, see, it's true. That just happened. Oh, see, that's true. That just happened, right? So your filter, or your focus, right, automatically gravitates towards making it truth, right? When it's not necessarily the truth. So if you're anywhere near serious about building a successful business to that 5-figure, 6-figure, 7-figure mark, then understand that your success begins with your mind. Okay. So let's go through those beliefs. So, number one, the first toxic belief is thinking, I'm afraid of what people might say if I go for my dreams, right? What are they going to say about me, right? You get worried about how others will judge you based on your work, right? And this can work two ways too. It's what will people say about me if I fail, and what will people think of me if I succeed? It's not just about failure. A lot of people think, oh, I don't want to do it because I might fail. But there's a lot of things, a lot of times I see out there, it's also about succeeding. Like, oh, maybe they're going to think I'm too good for them, or maybe they're going to stop talking to me because I'm successful, or, like there's also this thing in the back of your mind sometimes, maybe not you, but a lot of people I see out there where they're afraid of success too. So they say they want to have this life and this freedom and all this stuff, and making hundreds of thousands a year, or 50, millions a year too, right? But once you get there, maybe you've got these beliefs thinking like, oh, it's going to be such hard work, or what are people going to take advantage of me? Are they going to want to be friends with me anymore? Because I'm not going to be able to relate with them, right? So there's that fear of success as well. And then of course the fear of failure. So it's like we're almost afraid of succeeding and of failing. But you know, guess what? I can guarantee you that if you put yourself out there and you do succeed, there will always be haters and there's always going to be people out there, jealous, bashing you. It's just part of life, right? And then that's just something that you need to learn how to deal with, right? There's always people out there that don't really understand what you're up to. And I get that a lot too, like I get all these little comments on things, but I'm truly care about people. I truly want to help, and just because they don't understand what I'm doing doesn't mean that it's true, right? And so they might say some negative things, and I can either debate with them. Sometimes I do. It depends on the mood. Sometimes I respond to the comment. Depends how much time I've got too, right? If I'm just hanging out and I feel like, having that conversation, then I might. And sometimes I just delete it, it's like, whatever, like whatevs. I don't need to deal with that. But sometimes, and sometimes it's true. Sometimes you might succeed and people might take advantage. And what if, right? Like we can just create all this stuff, in our heads that may or may not happen. And it's best just to move through it, right? So but those are the ones, those haters and those bashers, those are the ones that are just threatened to be around successful people. And I often say, and I'm sure you hear out there too, like we always become who we surround ourselves with. So you need to be grounded in who you want to be, in your identity, and create that, right? And then you're going to want to surround and those that are going to want to be around you for you are going to stick around, and those that aren't, and that's okay. So just bear in mind that, their nasty comments or their hate, towards you, it's not really about you anyway, right? Like we usually resonate what's happening inside of us, and or I shouldn't say resonate. We usually project what's happening inside of us, right? So if people are saying hate things or saying nasty things, it's not really about you, right? It's just their own limiting beliefs talking, and they're just projecting it on you. So it really has nothing to do with you. You're just there, at the right time, at the right place for them to get it out of them. Because if you think about it, it's like that's pretty toxic energy, right? Like you don't want to be filled with that. So, people gotta get it out. So anyway, but for as long as what you're doing is the right thing, as long as that is, your intentions are there and your conscience is clear, then you really have nothing to be ashamed of or afraid of or anything like that. It's just go for it, go for it and do what you're intending to do, right? People are going to make it mean whatever they make it mean, and you have no control over that. Like you just have to do your best and go for it, right? The only opinion that really counts is your own. So what others really think of me is really none of my business. And of course, human beings, there's going to be moments of doubt, and we'll be worrying about, oh, what are my parents going to say, or what does my spouse or my neighbor or someone in Africa think about what I'm up to and my work and what I'm saying, even right now, it's like I could get tons of negative comments or positive comments, and it's like people show up, people don't show up. I know what my intention is. I'm very secure in that, and I'm really confident in that, and I think it really helps people. So that's why I take the time to do this. So anyway, when this happens, just go back to what you're really about, right? Like focus on that mission that you have, and that'll be your superpower. Just focus on that dream, focus on your mission. What's your mission? Your ability to focus and move forwards regardless of what others are saying and thinking about you. Okay? So that's number one. Let me take a sip of stuff. I feel like I'm running out of breath here. All right. So next is number two, toxic belief number two. So I see this a lot. They think I'm afraid that nobody will pay me for my work. Okay. So you can be really good at giving out advice, but you're afraid that nobody will pay you for your expertise. But I've seen that if someone can solve a major life or business challenge, like whether it's in fitness or health or relationship issues or whatever, like there's so many different avenues, or business, right? then that's something that you can really command a premium price for, right? Any service-based business, pretty much, there's a way to build value around it so that you can charge a premium price. And this is part of what I teach my clients. Like, I teach them, how do you create enough value in what you're doing with what your service is, what you're offering? How do you build enough value to be able to charge anywhere from 3,000 to 10,000 for it, right? Because if you're charging that premium price, then that way you can hit your financial goals that much quicker, that much easier. Whew, getting hot in here. Um, so, you know, but a lot of people, they don't really either know how to do that, or they might not think they're worthy enough to do that, right? So I help my clients to position their offer correctly and communicate the value around it effectively, so that they can charge, like I said, between 3,000 and 10,000, 5,000, 8,000, 10,000 for whatever it is, right? And maybe you're thinking to yourself right now, like, who would pay that, right? So if you're thinking that right now, it's a limiting belief. Okay, you just don't know the how, right? Again, it's all perspective and how you communicate the value around what you have to offer. It's how much value you create in it, how to communicate it, and position yourself as that go to, right? So believe me, if you don't see these things in a new way, then they'll just stop you dead in your tracks, right? And you're never going to get that business off the ground. So think about how you get suspicious when something's given at such a low price, right? And it's supposed to solve like a major problem, like a $10 ebook that'll teach you how to lose weight and all that extra belly fat in 5 days. Too good to be true, right? So the market has gotten so sophisticated, and people have been scouring the internet for answers since, who knows when. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I can't remember when the internet came. 2003 or something? I don't know. Can't remember. But anyway, they have that gut feeling already, right? If something's worth it or not, right? So the audience has tried a million other ways. So they're more than ready and willing to invest in something that will give them their desired outcome in the quickest way possible. Okay. So people won't be paying you for your knowledge or your time or your expertise. Okay, that's not how it works. So if you think, oh, I'm going to charge this many, if you're calculating your price around, well, I work this many hours and this is how much I would charge, for an hour of my time. That's not how it works, right? Like, again, it's all based on the results and how you communicate the results, right? So people will be paying you to achieve the certain results in their life, right? And it needs to be big, right? So if you can get your audience to understand the value of what you do, right, then they would want to work with you at any price that you want, right? Like, let's take, for example, a marriage counselor, okay? So let's say you're a marriage counselor and a couple comes to you and they say, we're on the brink of divorce, and for sure you can help these people save their marriage, right? You can see their problems, they're a good fit for what you have to offer. That when you teach them what you have, sorry, my hair is like um, bugging me today. That you can get an amazing result. You can save their marriage, right? And let's say you say, I can help you save your marriage, but it's going to be $10,000. They're like, oh my God, $10,000. We don't have $10,000. That's crazy, right? Just say, okay, that's fine, but how much will it cost you? Let's say if you don't do this, right, and you do end up getting divorced, how much does it cost to split all your assets 50-50? How much would it cost you then? Right? And how much do divorce lawyers cost? Right? Okay. And then how about those therapy bills for the kids after, years and years to get over it? Right? So when you weigh that, right, that's what I'm talking about, different perspectives, different lenses, right? When you weigh that out, now $10,000 seems like a bargain, right? So being able to communicate the value around what you have to offer is key, right? Creating that value, knowing that you can help these people get a great result, and then you can charge a premium for it. Make sense? So let me know if you are still with me. I'm gonna check. Hey Larnie, how's it going? Glad you're here. I'm not seeing any picture, so hopefully that's working. And hopefully you can see me, but yeah, awesome. All right, so let's dive into number three, toxic belief number three. So why would people hire me when they can hire someone else who's more well-known? Okay, this is another one I see a lot. I hear a lot. I get calls every day from people. And the again, it really goes back to a lot of what I've been talking about today. So, but there's more, right? So this is a guarantee, right? Like when you're a service-based entrepreneur, there's always someone else who's doing the same thing you're doing, right? I can name a bunch that are doing the same thing I'm doing too, right? That are way bigger, they've been around a lot longer, right? It's really very rare nowadays to see a brand new, never before seen program that addresses a totally untouched topic. Yeah. So there's always that other person who's been in the business longer, has better branding, has more expensive website, etc. Right? But it doesn't matter. Okay. Not a single one of my successful six-figure clients was a celebrity when they came to me. Okay, not one. Okay, the thing that matters is whether your audience understands that you can help fix their problem. That's the main thing, right? Again, that result, right? So if you're offering people what they really want, you're going to stand out no matter what, right? No matter how crowded your market gets, right? If you're able to communicate, if your messaging resonates deeply with them, too, right? And you're able to communicate that value so effectively with specific words that would resonate with them, with a specific formula. Like there's a way to do that. So it cuts through all that stuff, right? So sure, it's great to have a best-selling book or millions of followers, but that's not what people really care about, right? And that's a long road. If you're out there trying to get likes and followers and build up this whole thing, that's not sales, right? That's not the what really matters are the sales, right? It's like you can get as many likes and followers as you want, but who cares, right? You can't stay in business with likes and followers. What it really comes down to is the sales. So, it's bonus if you've got likes and followers, but not everybody starts that way, and you can't wait until you've got millions of followers to make money, right? And you don't have to, right? Because there's a way to do it. So, at the end of the day, results are what translates to revenues. Okay, because people um, go for the ones that have the solution that can transform their lives. Make sense? So, and not to mention, the bigger and more well-known celebrities are like typically have like these general one size fits all offers, right? Which is really a lot more difficult to get good results or quick results for people. Like I'll pick Tony Robbins, for example. Okay, he would be someone that maybe does something similar to what I do, right? A lot of people know Tony Robbins. He's got best-selling books. He makes millions. Like he's everywhere. He's been around for everywhere. He knows all the celebrities. He is a celebrity, right? He helps people with their businesses, but he also helps people with empowering and motivation and stuff like that, right? But what Tony doesn't do is he doesn't, unless you want to pay, like, I think maybe in his millionaire, mastermind or whatever, he doesn't have that one-on-one customized solution, right? And so that gets those results, that gets people making money, right? I get a lot of calls from people that have gone through Tony Robbins programs and they're still not making money, right? Because he doesn't help them set up the proper systems and structure and give them the strategies that are specific to who they are, who they work with, what they want to create, right? Because every business is different, every person is different. Like you're different, right? You're different. What you're offering is somewhat different because you're different, because you've had all these unique experiences throughout your life, right? So that makes you different. And even though your service is similar to, yeah, maybe some celebrity out there, it's still going to be different, right? And same with me. Like I'm very customized and I hold my clients through the hand. You don't get that with Tony Robbins, right? You don't get that with the big celebrities. Another one would probably be Marie Forleo. I get a lot of calls from people that didn't get results from her program. She's very well known. She's very big, right? She's got a program very kind of similar, not really, but it's a marketing program, right? But it's so general that it doesn't get the results. And that's the main thing, right? So, anyway, wouldn't it be great to actually, do the work that you love and helping people right now, instead of having to put that off because you think you need to create this huge following or this huge list or get all these likes and become a celebrity and write a best-selling book, all this stuff, right? You don't need any of that. That's super time consuming, takes forever. It can help if you already have it, sure, because you have a list to tap into, but you don't have to have a huge list to start actually making money. Okay. So with that said, okay, I can help put a system in place that allows you to deliver results and get your businesses up and running in record time. Like I said, anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks. Like we're not talking about 3 to 5 years, only 8 to 12 weeks of working with me to get you to where you want to be. Okay, so let me help you get past those fears so that you can start finally working with ideal clients who will be eager to work with you and pay you $3,000 to $10,000 for your service. Okay, if you don't think that's true, if you're like, that's like, what are you talking about? Just let's hop on a call together and I can share with you how that specifically could work for you and your business. Because, like I said, every business is different. So if that sounds good, type the word overcome below. Okay, and I will get back to you with a DM. I'm either myself or my team will get back to you with a DM and let you know how we can set up that call for you and really dive into your business. We can tap into what's working, what's not working, figure out exactly the strategy that would take you from, whatever's not working, what's working, the specific strategy that you would need to hit your income goals. Okay. And also to set up your business so that you can leverage your time and your money. Because again, great to make money. You can always make money, but we can't get our time back, right? So even if you're making a ton of money, but you don't have the time, what's the point? So setting up those systems properly and effectively so you're not just creating a job for yourself, but you're actually creating a real business for yourself so that you can have that time and money freedom to be able to spend time on self-care so you can be your best self, to serve more clients, to go deeper with your clients, to have that time, that fun with family and friends on the weekends, all that good stuff, right? You need to build that. So thank you for joining me today. Again, place a comment in below, overcome, and I am in the Business Growth Blueprint Facebook group every Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific time if you want to join me for these talks. Okay, so thanks for joining for me today, and I will see you again next week, guys. All right, take care.